when it comes to striking situations as a whole in street fighting, not sport, street fighting, you have to understand that unless you feel like going toe-to-toe with this person, it's probably not always the best idea to just stand up, squared off with this person, trading punches until one of you gets knocked out, especially in a street fight, because once you do get knocked out, you have no idea what the person's going to do to you. You have no idea if there's other friends that are going to come in, and you see too many fights these days where people just pretty much come in and start stomping, kicking you in the face, all that nonsense. So when you are in a striking situation on the street, you have to at some point, not always, but you have to be comfortable enough to get in close and learn how to tie up. If you don't know how to grapple in general, you should probably start with that first, because it is a given that if you're in these situations, at some point, whether it's him or me, are probably going to engage in some sort of clinch. Again, this may simply just be to get him to stop punching to the point where I can back off and throw another strike and get out of there and get away to safety, or I can take him down, or I can restrain him, whatever the circumstances presents itself with. I understand not everyone likes to tie up because they may pull weapons and all this stuff, but again, depending on the circumstances, that may be your only option. Now, there's a few ways on how we get in there. I cannot simply just sit here and trade punches, because if we're just sparring and we're trading punches, again, one of us is going to get knocked out. Even if I'm a great boxer and great spar, again, it's going to be very difficult for me to just simply strike and work my way into a position where he's going to allow me to clinch up, because as I start getting closer to him, he's going to start getting really defensive on that. So you have to kind of bait him in a couple ways, or you have to block in certain manners that allow you to get close. Now, if you want to bait him, you're pretty much just baiting human behavior. I understand, and this happens again, both street and sport. If I land a couple good punches and he starts covering up like this, I know that if I sit here and just continue to wail on the person, at some point he's going to let go and just go for Hail Mary. And if he lands that Hail Mary, there's a good chance the fight is over. Now, if you want to tie up from that position, if I land a couple good hits and I get any sort of kind of turtled reaction and you decide that you want to tie up, then by all means come in and tackle. But if I'm too far out, if I'm way out here and I'm just kind of throwing these hard hits, this may not necessarily be the best time, because by the time I come in, he's either going to step back and hit me, he can sprawl, or he can counter and take me down in another manner. So that may not always be the best option. So instead, I can throw a couple punches. Once I see him kind of cover up, scoot back a little bit, knowing that he's probably going to throw again that Hail Mary, or he's going to do like a quick scoot and just throw a blind jab essentially, and that's my opportunity that as he throws that strike, I drop my weight, change my level, and I go in for some sort of takedown. Not always going to be the case, but again, that's just one example of how you set it up. So again, I throw my strikes, he covers up, I back up, and now I come in, we throw double legs, single legs, to simply check the person. Again, it can simply just be, I come in and I check them, and now I work up into the back. Multiple different circumstances. Now, my preference is just different styles of blocking. If I just sit out here and he throws punches and I'm just kind of blocking and checking punches, I'm never going to be able to get into him. Even if I'm cutting angles, he's throwing punches and I start working angles a little bit, again, I'm simply just kind of keeping the punches at bay. I have to still slowly work my way into him to where I can kind of get into his personal space. Reason being, no one's going to punch with one hand out and then punch straight with the other hand as that first hand's up. They're going to have to recoil their hands every time. As they're recoiling those hands and I'm blocking and I start getting closer, their punches are going to start changing from straight punches to more wide overhand uppercuts, because they physically cannot throw close punches as I start getting closer. So you're going to start seeing the wider punches come out. When those wide punches start coming out, now I'm looking to start trapping on the inside of the arms, and eventually we work into a tied up position. Now, I do not want you to come out and just have your hands out like this trying to catch the punches as he's throwing punches. I'm not trying to catch it because I'm just going to eat punches, and this just doesn't look good as you come in. So again, it all comes down to how you're blocking, and you're still kind of working the angles and coming in from the sides a little bit. You're not just coming straight on. So as he throws the punches, I'm going to start with these, and you start working your elbow blocks a little bit more. And as we start working closer, now I can get into a position where I can tie up. May not always be the prettiest, but it works. If I manage to get to the outside, now again, when someone throws a punch, if you block and come to the inside, you're going to have to deal with it, but I'm exposed to, hey, this other hand over here. So you have to expect that this person's probably going to start punching you, and it's a little bit harder for me to get into this position without eating that punch. If he punches and I manage to get to the outside, perfect, because I know the next step is to pull this arm back, and as he pulls that arm back, now I can close the gap. And it's simply just me keeping my elbow up and stepping in as he goes to throw that far punch. Now I'm on the inside, and now we're tied up again. So it's just understanding that I have to work my way in, either head on, at an angle, or a combination of both. But you have to change from going with these kind of blocks and moving your head a little bit to start using your elbows a little bit more. And as we start kind of getting sticky hands, we work ourselves in, and we're just looking to get to this clinch. And again, from here, your options are endless. Work your headbutts, work your close strikes if that's what you want to do. I can simply use that as an opportunity to disengage altogether. You can take them down, whatever the case is. It's just the idea of I have to learn how to use angles. I have to learn how to go head on. So again, he uses whirling punches. I'm just going to slowly start working my way in to the point where I can get inside. It's not always the cleanest manner, but again, neither is us being on the street striking each other. But it is an option, and it is your opportunity to understand how to get close to this person rather than just standing here trading punches. Now, if you're comfortable, you're a strong boxer, a strong tight boxer, whatever it is, and you know that you're confident in your combinations and you can pull some Bruce Lee shit and just knock this person straight out, by all means, go for it. If not, and you need to know how to kind of tie in and get to the clinch, try these few different methods, play around with it. Again, this is all going to come down to that specific situation, who you're fighting against. So pressure test this, get comfortable with this, run a lot of drills with this, but just understand, regardless of the situation, a grappling situation is probably going to occur at some point within a street fight. So you better be comfortable with grappling, and you better understand how to close a grab properly. So give it a shot, keep your hands up, stay safe, we'll see you next time.